It's Friday. We made it through the week. Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning as we bring you the latest you need to know to get your day started here in the land of Lincoln. We've got a couple things to tackle. One, we'll hear some reaction to the latest U.S. Census data showing that Illinois is leading the nation in the rate of loss of people under the age of 18. More so than California or New York when it comes to the rate of 18 and under leaving the state. But it's not just that. You've also got a lot of people of working age leaving the state as well. So I was able to get reaction from Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday. We also talked with Illinois GOP Chair Kathy Salvi about that, and we also got her reaction to Governor J.B. Pritzker running for a third term. That announcement was made yesterday with 4 different stops. He's got 3 more stops today to wrap up his 2-day tour across the state of Illinois, launching his third term bid. So we'll hear some of what the governor had to say yesterday up in Chicago, but also afterwards he was asked several questions, including about his health and also about whether or not he's going to have a lieutenant governor picked soon, and will he commit to 4 years in office instead of vying for the presidential election in 2028. So we've got a lot to tackle here. So stay with us here with Illinois in Focus Daily. But again, I want to encourage you to go check out the website, thecentersquare.com. We are a free newswire service. This is where you can get these headlines and more in your inbox each and every weekday morning. Just click on newsletter and you'll be able to get the latest and video segments and more. But one way you can stay connected here is with Illinois in Focus Daily. Each and every weekday morning, 8 o'clock-ish, we go live. Live chat is pretty active as well. So you can check that out and stay up to date and sound off with some people in that live chat each and every weekday morning. All right, let's go ahead and get it going here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Again, be here every morning and get that headline in your inbox. Go to thecentersquare.com.
For governor in 2018 to change our story. I ran for governor in 2022 to keep telling our story. And I am running for governor in 2026 to protect our story.
Well, I'll use a word that even Governor Pritzker said. He said wrong-headed, and I think his decision to run for re-election a third term is a wrong-headed decision.
That's Governor J.B. Pritzker announcing his bid for a third term yesterday at a stop in Chicago, followed by Illinois GOP Chair Kathy Salvi. This is Illinois in Focus. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us. The 2026 election cycle, full force now. Of course, we've got the petitions that need to be filed for the primary. The primary is March of 2026, so we still got some months ahead of campaigning for the private party primary. primaries, right? We're going to have a Republican primary. We're going to have a Democratic primary. Across the states, people are going to be vying for the party's nomination in these March primaries. And then in November of 2026, that's when the gubernatorial election will be. But listen, it's not just the governor. There's going to be a whole bunch of people running for different offices. But Governor J.B. Pritzker had been asked for weeks if he's going to run again. And yesterday, it was made official. He took to a podium up in Chicago and said that he took this state from a financial crisis to a financial success, he says.
When I took the stage in 2017, Illinois had gone 2 years without a budget. Our credit rating was in the tank, our citizens were in the dumps, and our checkbook was in arrears. And what I found was not irreversible injury, but rather unforgivable neglect. The good news is neglect can be fixed. We proved it. We took 2 years of no state budget and transformed it into 7 years of balanced one.
Now, of course, he says that they're balanced. Republicans would counter that and say it's based off of fund sweeps and gimmicks and tax increases. Earlier this week, we went through the list of tax increases under Governor J.B. Pritzker, including the doubling of the gas tax with an annual gas tax increase each year. July 1st, that's going to kick in again. You've got increased taxes on tobacco. You've got increased taxes on video gaming, the cannabis legalization, which is one thing that he says was an accomplishment of his administration.
We needed to right old wrongs, so we legalized and decriminalized marijuana. We needed to fight violent crime, so we hired more police and invested in violence prevention. We needed to rewrite our story. So we did.
So the governor talking about a variety of different policy initiatives that his 2 terms so far have brought about. Other things, he increased the minimum wage in Illinois over several years to $15 an hour. It's another thing. That was one of the first things he got done. He banned the sale and possession of semi-automatic firearms and magazines over certain capacities. That's a measure that's challenged in courts with a judge declaring that it was unconstitutional. Pending in the appeals court, could be a case that goes to the U.S. Supreme Court. He also oversaw and ultimately approved maps that the General Assembly put together, the Democratic-controlled General Assembly, with the loss of a congressional seat even, that he put that together with Democrats in the House and the Senate, signed that map, despite having said that he wanted to have an independent map-making commission, because Illinois' maps are, according to civic organizations, gerrymandered. You've got even an F grade being given to Illinois' maps. But regardless, the governor has a long list of different accomplishments he says that he has, but there's a lot to do, including looking at future technology and how Illinois could capitalize on that.
Our quantum campus rises where U.S. Steel once fell. Rivian is expanding where Mitsubishi once closed. The Thompson Center is now home to Google. The seeds of success have taken root.
And he also goes through some philosophy on, the times of the politics in the United States and Illinois.
Yes, we have addressed so many of our old problems, but new ones always arise. History is an endless relay race. Our job is not to look for the finish line, but to protect the baton as we run our assigned leg.
And he also went on to discuss the themes of his 2 terms in office and what the theme of his 3rd run for governor is.
I ran for governor in 2018 to change our story. I ran for governor in 2022 to keep telling our story. And I am running for governor in 2026 to protect our story.
Now, the governor, obviously, with his terms in office being since 2019, he was elected in the middle of the first Trump administration. And then you get to the COVID pandemic that really kicked in. And the governor here in Illinois, he ordered executive action for like 2+ years during the COVID pandemic. It was countless how many executive orders he had signed to close businesses, to limit businesses to 20%, 50% capacity, different regions, all of this coming out of executive orders, not through the General Assembly. The General Assembly was really hands-off during that time. Democratic General Assembly with the Democratic governor. But the governor had these executive orders ongoing. He also went loggerheads with Trump during the first Trump term and has since been a stiff critic of President Donald Trump now in a second non-consecutive term. Pritzker talked about how, they have to protect against the clown car, he called, of Republicans in Congress, and said Trump's a megalomaniac, pushing against Trump, his personality, but he also was wanting to secure Illinois as a place for the rights of people to get abortions, something that Democrats in the state have done in the state of Illinois. Which, again, on the other side, Republicans criticize because it's gone to the point where Republicans say it's gone too far with removing parental notification of a minor girl getting an abortion. But Pritzker also talked about the cost of things and says things are too damn expensive.
We must reckon with the fact that everything is too damned expensive. From groceries to concert tickets to mortgages to cars to healthcare, we have created a world where one job isn't enough to raise kids, one salary not enough to own a home, and one lifetime of work not enough to earn retirement.
So the governor talking about the cost of things and trying to essentially project that onto the Trump administration, but you could look at Illinois in particular and the cost of things in this state. Second highest property taxes. When you combined all tax rates, we're among the highest. You've got businesses that are hit with high costs, from workers' comp to a variety of other costs and fees and licensing and so on for businesses, and especially property taxes. Those are high costs in this state, and this is state specific. But the governor touching on other things, including identity politics.
If you stood up for diversity, equity, and inclusion when it was easy, then you'd better be for it now when it's hard. If you protected the rights of the LGBTQ community and immigrants and black and brown people 2 years ago, well, then you'd better not abandon them today.
The governor went on to say, are you in for the fight? Are you ready to fight? And people cheering and clapping. And then it's official. He's now running for a third term in office. Now, what's interesting is we don't know who the lieutenant governor is going to be. He was asked about it afterwards and said that, obviously, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, his current lieutenant governor for the past 2 terms, announced in April she's vying for the U.S. Senate seat being vacated by Senator Dick Durbin, who said he's not running for re-election. So that takes Juliana Stratton out from being the lieutenant governor for a potential third term for governor. What's that mean for him? He says he's going to find the right person and make that announcement sometime soon. Who that's going to be, not sure. But the governor was also asked after his Chicago kickoff about his health.
We happen to notice today that you were out for a great walk early, and I understand that's not
your guys out there? Yeah, that's good.
Not a one-day deal. Is there a new incentive to get healthier as you also eye a White House race?
It was a beautiful day today, Marianne, and by the way, it was only about 75 degrees at 5 in the morning when I went walking, so that's why I chose it.
But what about that incentive to be healthier?
Always, and we want the whole state to be healthy. We're doing a lot of work on that front.
Again, the governor asked a myriad questions after his kickoff in Chicago. One dealt with the possibility he could be lining up a bid for president in 2028 by getting another term as governor of Illinois in 2026.
Can you pledge that you will serve out your 4-year term as governor if you win and tell us about whether you're going to run for president.
Well, I'm running for governor today because I want to be governor of Illinois. I have worked hard to get our state moving forward, and we have yet more to do.
But will you serve a four-year term?
Everything that I do, truly everything that I do in my job and every day when I wake up is about improving the lot of people who live in the state of Illinois, lifting up the working families of Illinois. Whatever I do going forward is going to be about that.
So again, the governor being asked quite a bit about if he's going to run for president, and he hasn't really committed, hasn't said, I will serve my 4 terms. He said things like, hey, the spot for governor is a 4-year term. Asked there to vow that he won't run for president. He just wouldn't explicitly say that. So it's interesting to hear how that's being couched, I guess. Reaction all over the place. You've got reaction from state legislators. You've got reaction from organizations that are governor organizations for Republicans and for Democrats. And what you've got is a variety of different responses. Let's pull this up where you could see the Republican governor's administration saying that, let me make sure I can get this in full screen mode for you. Republican Governors Association says people are fleeing Illinois by the hundreds of thousands, and Illinois families continue to suffer consequences of J.B. Pritzker's abject record of failure at home while he spends his time in national vanity projects trying to further his own political career. The RGA's Rapid Response Director Colin Crampton says that opportunities for Illinois families are in the garbage. Criminal illegal aliens and immigrants are protected over law-abiding citizens, and Pritzker's tax hikes are destroying family budgets. Pritzker's reign in Illinois has left families trapped in an economic disaster, and taxpayers are the ones left to shoulder the burden. It's time to bring common sense to Illinois and end Pritzker's feast on Illinois' working families. Another statement, this one from the Democratic Governors Association, and Kansas Governor Laura Kelly putting this statement out, saying that Pritzker is an effective leader who's delivered strong results for Illinois throughout his time as governor. He turned a fiscal disaster into a balanced budget, overseeing remarkable credit upgrades. By the way, Illinois' credit rating is still among the worst in the country, even though it has received several credit outlook changes. It goes on to say that Governor Pritzker has been a staunch defender of reproductive freedom and our democracy. Illinoisans can trust him to keep standing up for their rights as he keeps the state moving forward. Another couple of statements here. House Minority Leader Tony McCombie, Republican from Savannah here in Illinois, she said the third-term Pritzker slump won't be any better than season 1 and 2. We know what to expect. Agency mismanagement, regressive taxation, and record spending. Illinois families need a governor for all people who understand true bipartisanship and growing our economy. Republican State Senator Jason Plummer putting this out. The people of Illinois deserve a full-time governor, someone who's committed to common sense, public policy that will fix our broken budget, reduce crime, and create opportunities for families, not someone who uses the office as a platform to grow his national profile as the state continues to shrink. And it goes on from there. Listen, there's all kinds of things that we're going to be hearing about the governor's record. We went through some of them, everything from increasing the minimum wage to expanding access to abortion. There's also going to be a lot of talk about criminal justice. The governor signed laws in place that helps police. They can't cooperate with federal immigration officials. And you've got the Safety Act and the end of cash bail and all the costs associated with non-citizens getting health care subsidies and housing and legal services and such. There's going to be a lot to talk about. Kathy Salvi, the chair of the Republican Party, I connected with her briefly. Here's what she had to say in reaction to Governor Pritzker getting back to the campaign trail.
Well, I'll use a word that even Governor Pritzker said. He said wrong-headed, and I think his decision to run for re-election a third term is a wrong-headed decision. Because look at the last 8 years. We have among the highest overall taxes in the entire nation. Thank you, Governor Pritzker and Democrat House and Senate. We have a spending through the roof, which I can't see how it's doing the state any good except for oppressing its taxpayers, the fine men and women of all stripes and colors in all 102 counties of Illinois. So we've got overspending. We have a pension crisis there's been no relief for. In fact, any tough issue, the Democrat supermajority and this governor just kick the can further down the road.
So we're going to see a lot of different names jump in for the GOP nomination for governor. Again, the primary is going to be in March of 2026. But when we talked with Stephanie Trussell, who is the former Republican lieutenant governor candidate under Darren Bailey in 2022, she's running for a state house seat, but she had some recommendations for the Republicans who may be looking to get the Republican nomination for governor.
Well, I happen to live in DuPage, and as you know, our sheriff, who has kept this county safe, who I just love for his passion and his dedication to making sure he can do whatever he can, because he doesn't want to see those guys back in his jail, guys or women, getting gang tattoos removed, teaching them, giving them an opportunity to earn their GED or work skills. And so I really like James Mendrick. I'm not sure exactly how full our site is going to be when it comes to the primary, but I know we've got some great candidates. And so I'm motivated by this. And what I would tell everyone after spending over a year of my life on the road, don't be afraid to hang out in those collar counties. You have to spend time in deep blue Chicago. And that's the comments that I would hear when I would go to events in Chicago. Those people would say to me at town hall, they would say, we only see the Republicans 2 or 3 months before an election. Go there. Those people have been showing up at these city hall meetings, begging to be red pilled, saying we're not going to vote for the Democrats anymore. And so it's time for us to engage with a group of people that we thought were solid blue, but they've shown us recently that they share our values. They want to join us in this effort to defeat J.B. Pritzker and everyone down in Springfield that are just, I love how they say, let's tax the rich, let's make them pay their fair share. But every time you look around, it's this regular, hardworking people like you and me that are getting nickel and dime to death. If it were up to them, we'd be paying $1.50 every time we got an Amazon or a food delivery. How is that making people like J.B. Pritzker pay their fair share?
Again, Stephanie Trussell, a conversation we had with her yesterday. You can watch that in its entirety in the segment posted yesterday here with the Center Square on YouTube. Yesterday afternoon, I talked with Kathy Salvi, the Illinois GOP chairman, and asked her about Trussell's advice.
Sage advice. What I would look to is, this is our government, this is our state, and we're responsible, each one of it. So if you look at what's happening in Chicago, it hasn't happened in my lifetime. You look at 50% of the men of African-American descent in the city of Chicago, they're sick and tired of the Democrat Party. They've already red-pilled. They're going to vote Republican. And you look at so many other of the ethnic groups who have traditionally, for generations, voted Democrat, and look at their leader over 40 years. Mike Madigan is now in jail, or pending jail for 7.5 years. The Democrat machine has run Cook County and our state, and we have to make sure it doesn't infect our nation, because the big government solutions are dead ends. They're dead ends for business, they're dead ends for families, they're dead ends for an individual mom or pop raising their family, and they're dead ends for our communities. So the good news is people are waking up, and they are willing to listen and to vote Republican more than ever in my lifetime. And I'm happy to be a part of this new Republican Party and be part of this Trump. And Stephanie was actually absolutely right. We need to talk to people about what issues are troubling them, and then offer them the real solutions that the Illinois Republican Party and the National Party offer. So you want change? Well, I suggest you consider voting Republican, and do get your family and friends and neighbors and colleagues at work to do the same.
We're here. It's the beginning of the 2026 campaign season in full force. Well, not quite. We still got the petition time that we've got to get together. Those are going to be like the official filings, and there's going to be a date that happens, and then we'll really see who's running, and then we'll get to the March primary and all of the debates that are going to be happening. State House races, U.S. Congress races, U.S. Senate race, governor, and so on. There's going to be a lot on that 2026 ballot, but we'll obviously be talking about it between now and then. I'm Greg Bishop. Wake up each and every weekday morning for more Illinois in Focus Daily here with the Center Square on YouTube. Get the headlines by subscribing to the newsletter at thecentersquare.com and find this podcast where you get podcasts. Just look up Illinois in Focus. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker saying the state's growing and dismissing questions about how we're losing people under the age of 18 faster than any other state in the nation, and we're losing working age people between 19 and 64 among the fastest of all the states. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning. Republicans call Governor Pritzker a population denier. Now, the state has every year for the past 11 years, except for one, lost population, according to U.S. Census estimates. Now, of course, the decennial census every 10 years is done in order to appropriate the congressional delegations across the country so that the congressional delegation is split among equal parts all across the country. And then states get to draw their maps, right? We talked a little bit about this last segment where Governor Pritzker announcing a third term for office. He has a lot to, stack on his achievements list, right? And one of those could be, I don't think he's going to talk about it, but signing Illinois' legislative boundaries and congressional boundaries, which civic organizations is called failing, a F grade. Anyways, so back to the the reapportionment, the population. That's why it's important to take that into consideration. So the census does their thing, right? They count people, then they put out the official numbers in 2020, and then legislatures go and draw their maps after that for the 10 years. Illinois keeps losing congressional delegation over the past 20-30 years. We've lost 3 or 4 seats, 5 seats or so. Just in the past census, we lost 1 seat in Congress, which is an indication that we're losing population. And you look at the decade of decline over 10 years before the 2023 numbers came out, and you see that Illinois is losing population. But the governor insists the state's growing. Now, he did get the census to revise some of the numbers, changed it by a couple of tens of thousands or so. But then the numbers keep coming out that we're losing population. The most recent data this week, released by the U.S. Census, confirmed we gained population last year because of inbound international migrants moving to Illinois. That offset the number of people living in Illinois moving to other states. So we did see population increase for that 1 year, but the 4-year data that was released this week confirms Illinois continues to lose population from 2020, despite a bump in 2023 to 2024. But the data released this week also drills down even further into racial demographics, into age demographics, into gender demographics. We talked about this earlier this week with Ted Dabrowski from WirePoints, delving even further into the data. But the data shows that Illinois is losing people under 18 faster than any other state in the nation. Our reporter, Jim Talamonte from the Center Square, was at the governor's campaign kickoff event for a third term yesterday, and afterwards he was able to pose this question to the governor.
But Governor, young people are still leaving the state. The new census data shows we're losing 18 and under faster than any other state. Is there a policy change you can...
Actually, the latest data shows Illinois gaining population. You ought to look at that. Maybe you're picking
18 and under.
I hear you, but you've got to look at all the data and understand that when you're trying to attract, remember, every state has people who leave and come. The point is to get net improvement in population. And that's something that we proved at the census in 2020 that we were doing. As you may recall, in 2010, every year after 2010, the community survey, the survey that the Census Bureau does every year, which is not a census, was showing that Illinois was losing population. Then we actually counted heads in 2020, and when they did the full post-enumeration survey to determine what the population of Illinois is, we gained 250,000 people in the state, didn't lose people. So we got to keep moving in that direction.
But if you look at the data, we're still losing people over the span of a long time, and it's not necessarily, even if the loss of people is slowing down or reversing or stabilizing, we're still losing people under the age of 18 faster than any other state. We're still losing working age people 19 to 64. Those are the ones that are going to be paying all the taxes. Those are the ones that are, because we don't tax retirement income in the state of Illinois. I've had tax professionals tell me that's actually one very positive thing for Illinois. Businesses like the flat tax in Illinois, and retirees like the no income tax on retirement income in Illinois. But we're seeing increased populations of 64 and up, but the working age, who are the ones that are going to be paying those taxes to support, benefits for people, they're continuing to leave the state. So you've also got the economic aspect of we're losing higher earners and we're only bringing in lower earners, which is going to impact the economy moving forward. Kathy Salvi, the Republican chairperson for Illinois, she says, listen, this is a big deal. And she says that it's Pritzker's legacy.
And why are people leaving our state at record numbers? We are number one in the state of losing our young, the 18 unders. And for those up to age 65, we have lost hundreds of thousands in the last 4 years of people 65 and under, the working people of Illinois. And why? Because they're taxed out of their homes with their property tax. They're taxed out of their businesses. Businesses are shuttering down around the state. Major corporations and businesses that rely on those have shuttered up and to move to more tax-friendly states. And with them go families and jobs to better climate. So this is the Pritzker legacy. So absolutely, he shouldn't be looking to be rehired. He should be fired. And but on the positive note, I think that any Republican who comes out of the gubernatorial primary will be our next governor. So I've been working toward the Republican Renaissance and ending this blue funk in Illinois since I've become the chair 11 months ago, and I think it's going to happen sooner than I thought.
Salvi also talking about the policies she believes would reverse those trends. It's not magic, she says. She says just look at other states where population's growing and who's running those states and the policies that they've got.
And why are people leaving our state at record numbers? We are number one in the state of losing our young, the 18 unders. The Republican states that people are moving to in droves, we don't have to guess at what will happen in Illinois with a Republican governor and a Republican House and Senate. We just have to look to the other states who have Republican legislators and Republican governors. And I can say without any doubt and hesitation, I'm of the opinion that Governor Pritzker is a bad governor, the worst governor in our nation. To think that he even wants to become the president, save America, save him from J.B. Pritzker. And that says a lot, since we've had a lot of jailed governors in our past. But you look at every single statistic and measurement of success, and Illinois is at the bottom of that. You look at the Republican-run states, and they're run well, fiscally sound, jobs are abundant, and high-paying jobs, too. People are able to live in their homes. And I'd ask anybody listening to this program, just if you are on a salary, look at your paycheck. Just look at what the government takes out of your paycheck every single week or 2 weeks or month that you get your paycheck, and look at what has happened in the state. We have a governor that dismisses ordinary Illinoisans, Republicans, Democrats, non-voters, all men and women. He has a dismissive attitude. He's out of touch with what it is to raise a family. And I know of more and more young people, more and more families that are taking 2 and 3 jobs just to be able to make ends meet, because he just keeps taxing and spending. And you wonder, is there any tomorrow? Well, yes, there will be. Under Republican leadership, you will find responsible control of government and getting government out of the lives of ordinary families. And that's what the difference between a Republican and Democrat. Democrats believe there's a government solution to every crisis or every problem. They even create the crisis in order to find a way to meddle into the affairs of a family and a business. And enough is enough. 8 years of Pritzker, 8 years of this Democrat-controlled House and Senate, enough is enough. So give those Republicans a chance. And I believe that we're going to see this Republican renaissance sooner than I had hoped in the 2026 election cycle.
We'll be watching to see if that's the case or not, as we've got more to cover here each and every weekday morning with Illinois in Focus Daily. If you like what you see here, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and share it with your friends, with your family. It's I've been told a solid place to get what's happening at the Illinois State House and staying up to date with concise and consistent reporting. So that's what we strive to do to keep you, the taxpayer, informed. Go to thecentersquare.com, sign up for that newsletter, and follow us on social media. Stay with us here on the Center Square's YouTube page, and stay up to date with Illinois in Focus Daily. All right, so all I got for you guys today on this Friday, just looking at the number of bills that are on the governor's desk, we could get a big bill dump day where the governor is set to possibly sign who knows how many of these, but he's got 355 bills on his desk. 355 bills that the governor is going to be possibly signing in the weeks ahead, if not releasing a whole bunch today. Among those, the safe gun storage bill, I anticipate he might hold a news conference for that. The Office of Firearm Violence Prevention measure is also on the governor's desk, and a measure that requires schools to report threats of violence with firearms, a Republican measure, actually. So those are just 3 of the 355 bills that are on the governor's desk, including a measure about an aquifer, artificial intelligence and therapy. And, oh my gosh, it's just a really, really long list. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here Monday for more Illinois in Focus Daily. Don't forget to get the weekend edition where myself and Jim Talamonte talk about these stories and more. Illinois in Focus Daily.